Hello everyone and welcome to Season 7, Episode 40 of Pro Wrestling's Top 50. I'm your host Travis McNeil, and today we continue our countdown of the top 50 matches in CHIKARA history with match number 11 on our list, which is the Atomicos match between the Kings of Wrestling unit of Chris Hero, Claudio Castagnoli, Icarus, and Gran Akuma against the team of Mike Quackenbush, Jigsaw, Shane Storm, and Jolly Roger from the CHIKARA Planet of the Grapes event held on June the 19th, 2005. So yes, it is another Kings of Wrestling multi-man match coming in on this countdown, but this one is one of my favorites and maybe the best Atomicos match that CHIKARA has ever done, in my opinion. This is classic Kings of Wrestling style. Faces come out hot and heavy at the start. Lots of quick-paced action, getting the best of all of the Rudos before the Kings eventually take over. What I really love about this match is it takes a lot of the traditional CHIKARA multi-man spots that you saw in their early years, when this was Quack and all of his students, emulating what they saw in Gran Hamada's UWF and in Michinoku Pro and in, Mexico and the various Lucha Libre promotions, and doing their own kind of little comedic twists on them. This takes all of those spots, but then kind of turns them around into new creative versions. And I really, really liked that. Bodies flying all over the place in this match. It's very exciting. It's got a memorable finish. It's in the staircase in Pittston. There's maybe 50 people there tops. But this is just a really, joy to watch of a professional wrestling match from, I've said it many, many times now, my favorite period of CHIKARA. So the main story in this one, it's the rivalry between Quack and Hero. Hero turned on Quack at the Tag World Grand Prix 2005 in this very building. You already know the story there. Fist, Gran Akuma, and Icarus have recently joined the ranks of the Kings of Wrestling. They were scouted by Hero for a little while. They turned heel on Shane Storm and Team Fist, attacking, Mr. Zero and laying him out. And that would lead to this Atomicos match here. So Icarus had started to establish himself as a little bit of a career killer at this point in his run. So we get a big brawl to start. It leaves Quack and Hero in the ring, and Quack outguns Hero. Very quick, fast-paced, action sequence. Gets a quick victory roll, almost pins Hero and sends him bailing on a 2 count. So the faces win all of the exchanges here, as you would expect. It is unbelievable to me watching these matches back now, just how good Claudio Castagnoli was in this period. Here's a guy that, yes, he had experience, from the European independents like WXW, but he came over to the US. We got his first look at him in 2003. He worked CHIKARA and he worked IWA Mid-South. That's where I got to see him at first, and you could tell this guy had a lot of really raw potential. Came over to the States on a permanent basis in 2004, really trained, through the CHIKARA Wrestle Factory. But this is a guy, at this point, that's only a couple years into his career, but he is head and shoulder above, everybody in these matches, with the exception of maybe Hero and Quack. But even then, it's kind of close, which is scary. Just a guy that picked things up so quickly. He's such an absolutely incredibly good base in all of these early matches. And he's working with guys that, bless their hearts. Shane Storm, not the cleanest wrestler in the world. Jolly Roger wasn't the cleanest wrestler in the world. Very fun guys, some early CHIKARA stalwarts, but, guys that were a little rough around the edges or a little sloppier, but you wouldn't know it in watching them work with Claudio. That's how good he was. This match, again, really weird to watch nowadays. Seeing Gran Akuma with the mask on there. Yes, that's, how I originally found Gran Akuma. But I'm so used to him with the bald hair and, that kind of stoic, menacing demeanor. That seeing with that mask, he just feels like a completely different person and wrestler. This match has Eddie Kingston and Larry Sweeney on commentary, just making it so fun. They're great. They don't take things too seriously, but they know when to be serious about the action in the ring. They're singing, they're having a great time. And just, knowing Larry Sweeney is no longer with us, and, the close relationship he had with Eddie Kingston makes listening to it, all, hit the feelings all the more. But again, just so great to hear them, having fun at a different time. This match has dives all over the place, coming from every angle. Bodies are flying everywhere. There's Hurricane Ranas and arm drags being popped off, every which way. It's a really brisk pace that's really, in a way, kind of hard to keep track of, but it creates this fun, chaotic opening to this match. Because it's Kings of Wrestling match, of course, we get an extended heat sequence, kind of on everybody, predominantly on Jigsaw, who's so good, as we've said before, fighting from underneath. We get to see a lot of, moves that would become kind of signatures for Claudio over the next couple of years, really in their infancy here. He hits a really long, stalling vertical suplex on Jigsaw that would eventually become the spot where, he would get the crowd to count along and he would hold it for 60 seconds, 100 seconds, and so on and so forth. But we see that here. We see, a very early version of Swiss Death where he counters like a Jigsaw Tornado DDT and pops him up into the Euro. I've said it over and over and over again. These guys have crazy good chemistry. Jigsaw gets annihilated every time he takes that pop-up Euro, and here is no different. We get a lot of really fun, heel triple teams and quadruple teams. There's a moment where Jigsaw, gets drop kicked from all 4 directions by his 4 opponents. That was brutal. We get really good stooging. At one point, Claudio puts on Jolly Roger's eye patch and wears that for the majority of the match. Just being a jerk about it. Nice heat on Jolly Roger. Maybe not quite as good from fighting underneath as his brother Jigsaw, but, really, really great as well. And he's someone that, still wrestles, I think, at least somewhat regularly. He's a guy that, if you didn't follow early Chikara, you might not know, but man, like Jolly Roger, Night Eye for the Pirate guy, the feud with DJ Skittles and, everything like that. Like, these are things that I look fondly back on, from some of the pivotal years of my independent wrestling fandom. So I love Jolly Roger. Shout out Jolly Roger. But we get heat on everybody, heat on him, heat on Storm. We get, the Kings of Wrestling trying to stooge and do the Kind Tie Deluxe poses. Eventually, Quack breaks that up and things break down. And this is where we get, all of the great, takes on the multi-person spots. We get the big rowboat spot in the middle of the ring, but then everybody starts trading chops in the rowboat. We get, the signature kind of like 8-way Chikara headlock, multi-man spot, but Jigsaw ends up hitting a big super kick that knocks them all down. We get this wild spot, you can see it in the thumbnail, where we get a big chicken fight where everybody goes on everybody's shoulders. And Quack ends up getting on Shane Storm's shoulders and does the stop sign to stop everybody because it's Chikara and it's silly and weird. And they hit, like an 8-way double stacked side Russian leg sweep, which was really nuts. Big moment at the end of the match where Quack runs off the stage at the staircase, dives over the ropes into a somersault senton on 3 of the Kings of Wrestling, kind of leaving everybody laid out. It leaves Icarus and Jolly Roger in the ring, and we get the big finish where Icarus puts him down with the pedigree, locks on the burning wings of Icarus, and refuses to let go, effectively ending the career of Jolly Roger as we knew it, up to that point. That, again, further established that story of Icarus taking out, all of these students. That would lead into him, going to the Young Lions Cup final with Shane Storm, the month after this. So just a really, really good run for him. This match, though, it's typical Chikara multi-man fun. It's from my favorite era. Great spots, great action. This was a match that I remember, Barmark and those guys were in attendance for, and they came home and raved about it. And I actually won the DVD for this. I went to Young Lions Cup 3 the month after. There was a raffle, and I won this DVD. So it was really cool for me to take it home and watch and not have to spend the money on it. Shout out Carolina Jim, wherever you may be, for giving me the DVD after I won it mid-ring. I love everything about this match. It's so much fun. It's, I can't, stress it enough. Like, this is a time that I look back on so nostalgically and so fondly. So for you, maybe there's more exciting Chikara matches that have been on this countdown or outside of this countdown, or matches later on in the promotion's run that, have more of a deep effect for you, and that's okay. But for me, you know, very few things top these matches as far as CHIKARA is concerned. You can watch this one, of course, on independentwrestling.tv. Subscribe to my channel here on YouTube so that you never miss a video. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Wrestling50. And please join me again next time as we continue to count down Pro Wrestling's Top 50.